You ever watch a train wreck in slow motion, knowing the whole time nobody's gonna listen until it's too late? That's how it started for me, with the HOA, a stack of maps under my arm, and the kind of warning you only bother to give people you still have a shred of respect for. Cut a road through my wetlands, and the water's gonna rise and take it all back. Simple, right? But the board just grinned like I was telling ghost stories at a sleepover, pouring asphalt, convinced that rules, and even karma bowed to their coffee-fueled little meetings. Funny thing about wetlands, though, nature doesn't do committees, and storms sure don't RSVP. So when the flood came, it didn't just crack the road. It swallowed it whole, like the earth itself was spitting out their arrogance. You could hear every "thank you for your input," and every fake smile gets sucked down with that pavement. Let me back up a sec. Before we dive into this beautiful mess, do me a favor and drop where you're watching from in the comments. I love knowing just how far these HOA stories travel. And if you're into drama with a side of revenge and poetic justice, you're in for a treat. Stick around, cause you won't want to miss this one. I can still smell the wet earth from that night, boots caked in mud, walking into the community center under those cold fluorescent lights. The board sat there like royalty, papers stacked, water bottles lined up, and Karen, queen of the HOA, dead center with pearl earrings and a smile that could slice steel. My folder was loaded. Color maps, aerials of the floodplain, a letter from the city planner saying this road was a terrible idea. Not opinion. Law, science, common sense. I laid it all out. Build that road, and it will. Flood. Not someday, not maybe. And when it does, you're not just losing pavement. You're cracking retaining walls, damaging homes, and you'll have lawsuits stacked higher than this table. Karen looked at me like I was a 5-year-old with a wild imagination. Thank you for your input, Mr. H. Your time is up. Polite as a slap in the face. The room chuckled, people whispering behind. Coffee cups. That was my first real taste of how little anyone cared about the truth. To most of them, this was about convenience. A road meant higher property values, shorter commutes. They didn't see the storm mapped out in my hands, only dollar signs. But those wetlands, they weren't just mud and weeds. My father spent 20 years restoring that land after some developer tried to turn it into a golf course in the 80s. He worked with the local college, planted reeds, rebuilt levees, brought back frogs and wildflowers, called it the marsh that breathes. When he died, I promised him no one would touch it. But to the HOA, it was just blank space. A week after that meeting, surveyors in yellow vests showed up on my property. HOA hired us, they said. Permits supposedly all lined up. Called the city, no permits filed, not a one. That night, I found Karen after yoga class. She didn't even take her earbuds out. The board believes this road will benefit everyone. Don't be so territorial. Territorial? I've defended land in other countries, worn camo and carried rifles, and now she thinks I'm just being petty over some mud? That kind of arrogance. It plants seeds you can't see until the rain comes. Days later, gravel trucks roll in, dropping rock like they own the place. I took photos, filmed with my drone, scooped soil samples. Into jars, my proof. The marsh went quiet. Birds scattered, frogs stopped singing, water started pooling. This wasn't just ignorance. Karen's brother-in-law sat on the zoning committee. Another board member golfed with the mayor's aide. It wasn't that they didn't understand. They just figured nobody would stop them. And then Rivera shows up, a neighbor 3 lots down. Walks with a cane, but sharp as ever. Hands me a yellowed newspaper clipping from '94. Flood nearly took my porch back then. Same marsh, same warnings. Land remembers, kid. I scanned it. Added it to my files. Still, every meeting, the board just rolled their eyes. Residents just wanted their lawns neat and fees low. The wetlands, too abstract, too inconvenient. Then came the newsletter. Smiling photo of Karen, shovel in hand, on my marsh. Headline: Community Access Road Brings Progress to Whispering Pines. Progress. That was their word for butchery. They even added, bridging our future together. I knew disaster was coming. Karma doesn't knock, it kicks the door in. Sunrise a few days later. Engines wake me up, bulldozers, excavators, cement mixers at the edge of my wetlands. I pull on my boots, run through mud straight at them. You're trespassing. Clipboard guy shrugs, says, take it up with the HOA. We have authorization. Shows me a permit. Wrong font. Wrong stamp. Military paperwork trained my eye fake. I filmed everything, called the city. No permits, no record, they said. Enforcement was buried in bureaucracy. HOA thrived in that gap. The road stretched halfway across the marsh. Frogs disappeared. Neighbors whispered about soggy lawns, new smells, disappearing frogs. I knocked doors. Most folks didn't care, but Ginny from Lot 14. Let me in. Her fence was tilting, backyard flooding for the first time in years. The cracks were spreading. Rivera, cane in hand, sat on his porch one evening. They think they're smarter than water. They're not. Land always wins. I added his story to my files. Then, an official letter. HOA accusing me of not maintaining my land, blaming me for their erosion. The irony just about knocked me over. My lawyer Carla, from the environmental nonprofit, fired back. Let them try. We'll counter everything. That night, Rivera poured us whiskey on his porch. They think they're untouchable. But arrogance circles back. The next board meeting, I brought Rivera's old clipping and a stack of complaints. 1994. This marsh saved you from the flood you're paving over now. Karen smiled that tight little smile. Our engineers have confirmed the project is safe. But the room was shifting. Ginny looked at me. Rivera nodded. The couple from Lot 22 fidgeted. Seeds were being planted. Karen intercepted me as I left. You need to stop, Daniel. This road will happen whether you like it or not. I told her, you're not fighting me, you're fighting nature. And nature always wins. Next day, trucks poured asphalt. I set my drone to hover, documenting everything. Storm season was coming. Then it hit. Warnings flashing, air heavy with humidity and dread. The board sent another glossy newsletter boasting about drainage systems and culverts engineered to withstand anything. But their culverts were cheap pipes and dirt. I wasn't just watching anymore. I was prepping. Evidence. Soil jars labeled and lined up in my garage, trail cams rolling. Ginny posted on the neighborhood Facebook group. Her yard flooded after a modest rain. Comments poured in. Rivera dropped his old clipping for all to see. The tension cracked open at the next meeting. Rain hammering outside. People wet and angry. Ginny stood up, showed her flooded yard. Karen blamed. Seasonal rain. Tried to smile it away. Rivera stood, cane thumping. You can't pave over water and expect it to behave. I laid out the county flood map, pointed out where their road sat right in. The surge path. When the water comes, it's going through your homes, not around. The room buzzed. Karen slammed her gavel, tried to shut it down. This isn't a trial. You should be afraid. I told her. The applause that followed wasn't much, but it was enough. That night, the storm hit. Gutters overflowed, water running down streets, pooling on the new road. Frogs silent. The land holding its breath. At 1:47 a.m., I caught the first crack in the road on camera. By 1:15, the culvert gave way. Chunks of asphalt lifted and vanished into the flood. Neighbors stood outside, flashlights slicing through rain, shouting over the roar. By dawn, the road was gone, the wetlands roaring with water, fences swept away, the empire Karen built reduced to debris. County trucks arrived, Channel 7 news vans right behind. The reporter asked, "You warned them, didn't you?" "I did," I said. "But they destroyed a protected wetland, and now people are paying the price." Footage went viral. The county confirmed forged permits. Martha handed over evidence, and the law finally sank its teeth. The HOA tried to blame unforeseeable weather, blamed me, blamed climate change. But the county's report and my footage sealed the deal. Karen resigned, her empire collapsing as neighbors demanded answers. Legal notices followed, restoration orders, fines, injunctions, the wetlands safe at last. The new board opened meetings to everyone. Karen slunk out of town. Weeks later, Ginny brought her son to stake a sign at the marsh entrance. Holstead Wetlands, protected by legacy. Rivera smiled, cane tapping in the mud. You reminded them. The land remembers. And you know what? That's the lesson, right there. Arrogance collapses. Truth endures. Whether it's an HOA, a corporation, or one stubborn neighbor, you can't fake your way past nature or integrity. So ask yourself, where are you building roads that don't belong? Are you listening or waiting for karma to wash it all away? Drop a comment. Let's hear your story.